All right, everybody, welcome to Talking Taker, episode number 57 of our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time. My name is Alex Dorio. I want to thank you for joining us for yet another round of Dead Man Talking. I am one of your co-hosts, one of the creatures of the night, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my co-host, my fellow creature of the night, and tonight I'm hoping he's going to be my wedding date, Mr. Travis White. Travis, are you willing to go to a wedding with me tonight?
I will be your plus one, brother. I will put on my black suit, my black tie, my black choker, and get ready to go to this wedding. We're about to, this unholy alliance, or unholy matrimony we're about to witness here on Talking Taker.
It is black attire mandatory.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone there has straight black on. Oh, man.
Well, we are, of course, talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about the No Mercy UK edition pay-per-view, the third in our series of UK exclusive pay-per-views that we are talking about here. This took place in May of 1999. It's again with a lot of these UK pay-per-views. It may not be a match or a pay-per-view you're familiar with, but it does involve a pretty significant Undertaker match, so we do want to cover it here. And, of course, we're going to cover up all the build-up going on between our last episode, Backlash 99, and this, which is a ton of stuff to talk about, including the infamous Black Wedding between Undertaker and Stephanie McMahon. So don't skip this one, folks, just because it may not be the most enticing match or pay-per-view on here. There's still a ton of Taker talk to be had.
Oh, absolutely. And, a few years ago, a lot of people raved about the Game of Thrones Red Wedding. Well, you know what? That can suck it, because this is the Black Wedding. This was years before, and a lot happens here. So let's get to it, man.
Just as crazy, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Insane. Just like the Red Wedding. So I like to think the Game of Thrones got their idea from this. So no way.
I'll go
but
with
I like to think that. Because Undertaker invented everything, as we've mentioned several times on this podcast.
Exactly.
So.
Well, let's hop in our old time-traveling hearse and head back to May 26th, 1999, episode 309 of Monday Night Raw. It is coming off of
Let's go back
Backlash.
to April 26th.
Yes, let's do that first. Let's go back to April 26th.
Let's go back a little bit farther.
1999. It's the Raw after Backlash pay-per-view 1999. Undertaker had defeated Ken Shamrock that night. But the real story was after the main event, after Stone Cold defeated The Rock and got his Smoking Skull title belt back. The Undertaker was seen pulling off in the limo with Stephanie in the back seat and uttering those three infamous words, "Where to, Stephanie?"
My favorite line this whole 57 episodes. I've been waiting for that this whole time. So my favorite Undertaker line, I guess. Paul Bear's had some of my favorite lines, but it's my favorite Undertaker line. I've been looking forward to that. Yeah, so he's abducted a 22-year-old daughter of his boss, so never a good start. We talked about the Me Too movement on our last week's episode, so he's going to continue it on here, abducting her, a Backlash. So, like you said, Raw 309, it opens up with the mopey Vince and the Stooges getting there in a limo, and Vince has got a briefcase in his hand.
Yeah, and he's like sulking, almost like his favorite football team lost. It doesn't look like somebody who's had his daughter kidnapped for the past 24 hours. It's just a weird visual from Vince. But yeah, like you said, he's got a briefcase in his hand that's obviously going to come into play here over the course of the show. So this is, again, going to be, like we've seen really over the past few months, it's going to be a whole thread throughout the show of where has The Undertaker taken Stephanie, and what is Vince going to have to do to try to get her back?
Yeah, absolutely. And another change of pace here, though, we get Cornette and JR on commentary. So I don't know why King was absent this night, but
I don't know.
But Cornette's on there, so it was fun to change it up a little bit. So I don't know, it was fun, it was neat. But so also a little nugget of something that happens this night is Rock is officially a face now after he gets fired from the corporation. So I just want to drop that nugget there because he's going to play into a lot of this storyline heading forward, some matches we're going to get and stuff. So he's officially a face now. But Taker is full-blown heel when you abduct his daughter, even though your boss is a heel. By proxy, I guess it makes him a face. I don't know.
Well, we see Vince backstage waiting on a call from The Undertaker. He's sitting there sulking with Patterson and Briscoe, and Patterson is saying Vince should call the cops, but Vince says he's going to negotiate with the dead man. He says he's got everything Undertaker wants in the briefcase, and all he wants to do is get Stephanie back. He's willing to do whatever it takes. So Taker, we hear the phone ring, but then we go to a commercial break. Yeah. I don't know why they didn't just show this, but we come back for a commercial break and they show us what happened during the commercial. Really, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, me neither, man. And why would he not just call the feds? This is a felony, abducting someone. Exactly. He's like, no, I have no alternative but to give him what he wants. So yes, you do. You call the federal agents and get them on this.
Well, I don't know if the federal agents could take down Viscera and Midian.
Oh, very true. Very true. So yeah, we get this phone call from Taker. He's like, Vince, you know who this is. She's fine, Vince. As a matter of fact, she's real fine, which is just creepy.
Gross.
And then he's like, you know what I got and you know what I want. And so Vince is like, yeah, I've got your controlling interest signed and sealed, but I want Stephanie back now. And Taker's like, once I get those documents, Stephanie will be returned unharmed. But if you slip up, you'll never see your precious little girl again. So,
blackmail from the black soul of the Undertaker here, and
exactly.
I gotta say, man, Undertaker pretty smart, kind of ahead of the game here, because the WWE didn't actually start offering stock until later in 1999. So, trendsetter Undertaker yet again.
There you go. Is he responsible? Could we say he's responsible for them going public?
I think we
because
have
of
to.
this.
The evidence right here.
All right, there you go. You're welcome, guys.
I have to thank him personally because I am a stockholder myself. I do have one share of WWE stock that I've had for like 15 years.
Well, it's riding higher than it ever has before at this point.
Absolutely, man. I get my quarterly dividend of 25 cents every 3 months.
It'll be like $3 this time.
I have made
it's up.
probably $10 over the past 15 years from WWE. It's
there you go. That's enough to pay for a month of the network.
Yeah.
Put it right back into the company.
I just do want to offer that as a disclaimer to our listeners that I am a stockholder in the World Wrestling Entertainment. So in case you think my opinions are influenced at all.
You're a shill. So.
But Undertaker does throw a wrench into these plans, though, doesn't he?
Yeah. He gives instructions for Steve Austin to bring the documents to this loading dock of some hotel. I didn't catch the name, but they got to be there by 10 p.m. on the loading dock. And, yes, he needs Steve Austin to bring them, not Vince. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's going to be difficult.
Why?
Stone Cold and Vince don't have the best relationship, from what I remember.
Yeah, exactly. The last 15, 20 months hasn't been the best.
So that, of course, Vince is flummoxed and flabbergasted about that. So in the next segment, Stone Cold is out trying to cut his victory promo from the pay-per-view last night, and Vince comes out and interrupts, says this isn't going to be easy, but he needs Stone Cold's help to get his daughter back. He tells Austin, this isn't about me and you, this is about me and my daughter. Stone Cold tells him, look, man, I got a million problems of my own. I don't really care about your problems anymore.
And I thought this was a perfect opportunity to get the old Jay-Z, I got 99 problems, but ain't one. That would have been incredible. But I don't know if that song was out yet in 99. So.
It's not Austin style.
No, but it would have been, like in my mind, I was saying it as he was saying, I got a million problems. I was like, oh, man, it would have been great. Godfather would have dropped that line or something, but it would have been hilarious.
Absolutely.
But anyway, yeah, so he's not sure he can help him, doesn't care about Vince's problems, and tells him to kiss his backside, and then Mopey Vince walks away.
It's just so weird for me to see.
They should play the Charlie Brown music there.
Oh, that would have been perfect. Arrested Development style.
Do, 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 do. Yeah.
But I was just going to say, it's just so inconsistent for me when Vince has been this just bold, arrogant, cocky guy for the past year, and flicking off Undertaker and Kane behind their back. He's doing whatever he wants. He's guaranteeing all this arrogant stuff. I mean, I guess you could say, well, this involves his daughter. It's freaked him out and
Sure.
everything. But still, it's just so weird to see Vince moping around and helpless like this. Just very inconsistent, in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I guess you're gonna blame it on the fact it's his daughter, but still, even when other things were going wrong, he still was the same, brash, arrogant, SOB that he always had been. So I don't know. It is definitely pretty weird. So, well, backstage we see Austin encountering the Big Show, and which this is weird to me too, because Big Show right before Backlash is, saying, "I'm calling out Vince. You don't owe me." He's going to start a feud with Vince, and then here he's like, "Hey man, why don't you say Vince's daughter to Austin?" He's like, "Come on, man, it's his daughter." And Austin's like, "See you later." He's got a big old dip in his mouth too.
Austin does, yeah.
Yeah,
Huge wad of chew in.
Yeah.
But, I guess we could start chalking up, counting all of Big Show's face and heel turns already.
Sure.
I mean, he's been in the company for 2 months, and I believe he's already had at least 2 turns already.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's nuts, man. I don't get it. So he's like the ping pong ball, just back and forth, back and forth. It's like a joke online, but it's legit.
It's true.
By the time 99 is over, he'll have like 4 turns, I think. So, face and heel turns. So, I do want to mention that the Acolytes beat up Shamrock. As we mentioned at Backlash, Bradshaw kind of got one up on Kenny at the end, and they do kind of feud here. I want to drop that line because it has something to do with the ministry, and Test comes to aid him. That's going to Test and Kenny kind of come to each other's aid, and that's going to feed into something that we're going to build on in the next couple episodes. So anyway, I just want to drop that there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that is, like you said, that's building something that's gonna become a heavy part of these next few episodes here. That team up with Shamrock and Test. Backstage, they're again setting the scene for all this stuff. Vince is pacing around backstage before finally deciding to take the briefcase and meet Undertaker at the hotel. Even though apparently JR is saying it's what did he say here?
Oh, JR's like, he says that Taker didn't show up at the place, and then Cornette's like, no, he was supposed to meet him at some hotel, because JR's like, oh, I guess Taker didn't make it here to the arena, and Cornette's like, no, he was supposed to meet him at a hotel. So that when Vince leaves, they're like, oh, I guess he's leaving to go to the hotel now. It was like a senior moment for JR. I don't know. It was really weird. They cover themselves later on in the broadcast, but that was definitely strange. So it's like they didn't have their notes in order. Of course, Vince Rizzo could have been rewriting it as he's.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So. But of course, even though Vince goes to the hotel with the briefcase, the Undertaker has outsmarted him yet again. His plan seems to go off without a hitch here, as Vince is at the hotel and the ministry arrives at the arena instead with Stephanie. He didn't really want Vince to meet him up anyway. So the ministry is dragging Stephanie into the arena. Everyone is just laughing and cackling. Stephanie's screaming, and Paul Bearer has this giant red book in front of him. It says on there, it's like, it's homemade. It looks like.
Oh yeah,
it's got glitter
like
and
vacation
stuff on
Bible
there.
school like art class. Yeah, that's exactly where it was.
It says on there, Ministerium ex acerbus. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but something in Latin. Basically, I tried to look it up. Means ministry of dark or ministry of darkness. Essentially, is what it means on there. Acerbus is dark or something like that. Ministry is, of course, ministerium would be ministry, I guess. So he's got the book of the Ministry of Darkness on there, and he's going to be using that book to officiate this wedding.
I wonder if WWE is going to put a copy of that out ever.
I wish.
They put out like encyclopedias and yearbooks, and they're apparently putting some tell-all book out too coming up soon. So
why not?
Yeah, they should put out this one. Who knows? I wonder if that's in the warehouse that we keep talking about. Stuff's in the warehouse.
Yeah,
I hope it is. If not, I hope Paul Bearer's kids have it. So yeah, Stephanie's got her black dress on, and she's got the black choker around her neck, like popular '90s accessory. That's why I made my comment earlier at the beginning of this episode. But so the main event is a segment, basically. We got a main event segment. We got Taker's music playing. The ministry come out. They have her already strapped to the cymbal. And this is where commentary explains. They're like, oh, well, Vince went to the hotel, but Taker wasn't there. It was a fool's errand. So they kind of cover themselves there, but JR just had that senior moment earlier. But Midian, Viscera, Bradshaw, and Farouk, the Fab Four. They're going to raise her up on the symbol and leaning on the top rope there. So she's not suspended in the air or anything. She's just kind of leaning on the top rope, but it looks super dangerous to me.
Oh yeah, she easily could have slipped off that and fell and busted her head open for sure.
Yeah.
But Undertaker is there to take care of her. Obviously, Undertaker obviously raring to go. He clearly must have taken his Blue Chew backstage. He's ready to get it on. I mean, if you're looking for help in that department, people, never mind. They're not our sponsor.
Yeah. No. But if they were, I'll show them.
Undertaker, before the ceremony begins, he says he must address the McMahon family, saying he is not to blame for what's about to happen here. This rests on your shoulders, Vince, because you did not live up to your end of the agreement, which is true. He did not get Steve Austin to go meet him at the hotel. So maybe Undertaker is actually responding. Maybe he was going to go through with it, but Steve Austin didn't show up. But doesn't seem likely. So Undertaker tells Paul to let the ceremony begin.
Oh, yeah. At this point, Paul gets his big old book open and the crowd's just chanting for Austin. They know what's coming.
Absolutely.
They've been watching wrestling before. This is not night one for them, so they're chanting Austin. Stephanie, I got to give her props. She's screaming like in fear. And I mean, she's a horrible actress at this point and horrible on the mic, as we'll see coming up here. But she's not who she'll become. But she is, she's playing that scared damsel in distress pretty well,
yeah,
I'll say.
I agree.
So Paul proceeds to perform the ceremony and join Stephanie Marie McMahon in the unholy wedlock with the Lord of Darkness. So he says,
I believe he asks Stephanie Marie McMahon.
He's taking page out of Joe Briscoe's pronunciation camp. Yeah. Ask her.
Keeping this in mind, will you, Stephanie Marie McMahon, accept the purity of evil and take the Lord of Darkness as your master and your spouse?
It's getting creepy.
It is, but thankfully Ken Shamrock is there to try to save the day. He comes in running in with his bat, but unfortunately gets a big old splash from Viscera, the King of the Ring 95 special, for his troubles.
Yeah.
And he's not able to save them. So we cut to the back after that, and Shane McMahon, you would think the brother of Stephanie, would be wanting to save her from this, but he's actually holding all the guys in the corporation back from running out there.
Yeah, he's like, no, we're going to hold off until it gets bad. I'm just like, dude, your sister's being married to Satan. Like, how much worse can it get? Like, how much worse can it possibly get?
I mean, they haven't consummated it yet, so.
I guess. So, oh, man. But, yeah, and then Taker says he wants to take Stephanie as his wife and for her to bear his offspring, which that was just, dude, that's a lot to take in. So, I mean, go ahead.
Think about last episode, we were talking about how this is just Mark now. It's not even the Undertaker character.
Right.
I mean, what is going on? Like, what is Mark trying to accomplish here? Is he really in love with Stephanie? Does he really want to be married to her? Is he really just going for power?
Right.
I don't know, man. All the motivations are all muddied, and it's a sight to see, but it doesn't make any sense.
It's very hard to look back on this fondly because, like I said, I keep saying that history is written by the winners and WWF won, right? So WCW, and you mentioned last episode or 2 episodes ago, I can't remember, but we talked about the Dungeon of Doom and how the ministry is kind of like the Dungeon of Doom, but no one wants to crap on it. Look at this. You've got this satanic cult leader trying to marry the boss's daughter, and she's going to have his seed and his offspring and stuff, and like he's got this Vacation Bible School like book he made, like a crafts class, and like this is the most WCW thing I've seen on WWF television in a while. So,
absolutely, dude. If WCW had won the war, we would be looking back at the Ministry of Darkness the same way we look at the Dungeon of Doom. I 100% believe that. Going back and watching this, it is not that much different. The Undertaker happens to be a better performer than anybody in the Dungeon of Doom, honestly. So that helps a little bit. And Paul Bearer is fantastic. But, dude, there's chanting. There's a woman sacrificed on a symbol in the middle of the ring, having this dark wedding or whatever. It is
Yeah.
not any better than Hulk Hogan dipping his hand in the water. It's not hot.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that
Or
much
the White
different,
Castle
man.
of Fear, any of that
No,
stuff.
no.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, well, not to be upstaged by Ken Shamrock, Big Show is going to come out to help here. And he comes out, but as you remember, when Ken Shamrock came out, he brought that baseball bat, and Taker takes his bat and nails Big Show across the head. I mean, it's a gimmick bat, but it breaks, man.
Yeah.
And it's a cool visual. I just want to say, man, he sold it well. God, it's awesome. So
Big Show is able to take out everybody except for Mideon and the Undertaker, though, before Undertaker takes him out. So he knocks out a lot of the guys. But Undertaker tries to rush things along with Bearer, and Bearer says, "Of course, by the power vested in me by the Lord of Darkness, I now pronounce you as the unholy union of darkness." Oh, man. I love it when people write their own vows. It's beautiful. Tells
yes.
Undertaker to kiss his bride. And here comes the interruption we've all been waiting for. The glass breaks. Stone Cold runs out, finally coming to save the day. Slugs it away with Taker, who bails. And then Austin nails Mideon with a stunner and then hands out concussions to everybody in the Ministry of Darkness with some just vicious chair shots, unprotected, to everybody in the Ministry here before finally untying Stephanie McMahon, who gives Austin a reluctant hug, and then Austin hands Stephanie back to Vince to end the show on a happy note, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say so for the characters involved. It's a happy note, but Austin sells this well. He doesn't hug Stephanie back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's the spawn of his Satan in his play here.
Right.
You know,
right.
She's a spawn of the Satan he fights against. So, you know, and JR says, you know, it's because it's the right thing to do, not because he cares for Vince, which I do appreciate him putting that over.
Yeah.
You know, Austin hasn't suddenly gone back on the last 15 months of his life and, you know, turned the corner. It's the right thing to do to save a poor, defenseless, you know, girl. So I guess Big Show talked him into it earlier backstage.
I guess so.
Yep.
So that's where things leave off on Raw. I mean, the characters are acting in the way you would think they would logically act. That makes sense for Stone Cold's character, that he would be willing to do that at the last possible second. So, yeah, I do buy that. But I'm not sure, as we move on to our next thing, if I think this is really how these characters would act. But let's talk about that.
Right.
Because we're going to move on to a pretty historic show here, as we're coming up on the 20th, or what is it, the 2000th episode? What is it? Or 1000th episode? What's coming
1000th episode.
Okay, the 1000th episode of SmackDown is coming up very, very soon. And we're going to cover the pilot episode right here from March 29th, 1999.
Yeah, it's April 29th, 99. It's filmed on 27th. So if you look at it on the network, it says it's April 27th, but it actually didn't come on TV till 29th. They filmed it the night after Raw on Tuesday, but it debuted on Thursday. So I have never seen this episode in full. I know what happens as I was an internet mark and I got online and read what happens, but this starts the Thursday Night Wars for me, man, and for you too, you know, because we got Thunder and SmackDown. Like, of course, it doesn't come on until August, but this is the pilot. And I can't put over this opening riff, this opening song. It's the best opening song for any WWF thing ever. I love it.
I'm not gonna go that far, but dude, it brought back the memories, man. It was fun to hear it again. I had no idea what any of the words are.
Nope. I remember you and I used to say we thought it was
Pippin' Hose all around. Big Show,
Jericho. Yeah, I had no idea. So. Yeah, man, but it's a big deal because WWF is on broadcast TV for the first time in 7 years. Not cable, you know, this is UPN. Yeah. Don't know what it stands for. Don't care, but it's on it's on broadcast, you know.
It was a big deal.
Pritchard just covered this recently.
Yeah.
In his show, and it's kind of a big deal. So
of course UPN no longer exists, but at the time it was an upstart broadcast network along with the WB going up against the big four networks. It's been around for a few years, but actually, you know, my cable company, I remember, didn't even carry UPN at the time, so I could not. I remember watching the highlights of this on the weekend shows, Superstars, or whatever the weekend shows were back at that time. But yeah, I believe UPN, they did finally add it when the fall season came around. So I think I was able to watch the actual series run, but I remember not being able to see the pilot and being very disappointed about it. But of course, this was probably, it was a big deal for WWF, but it was really honestly a bigger deal for UPN because they were. UPN was a broadcast network, but they were the home of such fine programming as Shasta McNasty, Homeboys in Outer Space, Moesha, the Mullets.
Mo Fun, Mo Laughs, Moesha. Remember that billboard in our hometown? Yeah, the Mullets was on there with the guy from Joe Schmo 2.
Yep, and your favorite show, the Claymation series, Gary and Mike.
I saw one episode of your house. What you doing? Pooping? That's so good.
If you Google Gary and Mike, that's the first thing that comes up. Gary and Mike pooping.
Really? We'll have to put it on our social media then. That's excellent. That's a shoot. I did not know that.
Yeah.
We did not script that. That's awesome.
But
That's incredible.
Even though UPN is nothing special, certainly at this point, it's a pretty huge blow against WCW, I think, in the wrestling war to come out on network television and be able to say that. And honestly, it does give UPN a boost. I think it was immediately like their highest rated program and pretty much was until UPN became the CW, merged with WB.
Yep, absolutely. And all they do now is DC comic shows, so there you go.
That's right.
Which I love them all, but that's all they do now. They don't have any kind of programming like this on it. So, but anyway, this is a really cool episode. It was really fun to go back and watch this because I hadn't seen it. So, we opened the show with, of course, your two biggest baby faces, apparently, Vince and Stephanie, coming out.
Not in the crowd's eyes.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Vince is getting called an a-hole by the crowd. I mean, just loud as ever been. And he kind of just was like, yeah, hopefully I can change. I have been that in the past, so hopefully I can change. So I just wrote in my notes, man, like, face Vince is not working. Like, the crowd is not going to do that.
They're not buying it, man.
They're not going to turn.
No.
But
like you said,
which is the point we keep making.
Yeah, he tries to soldier on through it. He ends up thanking Shamrock, Big Show, and Stone Cold for their help on Monday night. And then Stephanie gets on the mic, and yeesh,
no,
she thanks
this
them
does not age well.
No, it does not. She says that on Monday night or Sunday night, whenever, she was taken against my will, stripped of my clothes, violated, and touched by the Undertaker. And I quote all of that. A, that's disgusting. B, this crowd in 1999 pops huge when they hear that.
When she says stripped of my clothes, they're like, yay! When I say, and Taker kept touching me, they're like, yay! I mean, it is horrifying to watch in this day and age. Oh, man. But yeah, talking about Me Too, this did not age well at all. So, but it was a different time, different era, so it's what it is. It's supposed to get heel heat, but it got babyface pops, so I don't know what that means.
That's the problem with all of this, man. But
so she says she hopes Undertaker burns in Hades, and then her brother comes out.
Yes, Shane leads the corporation out, and you can tell here that Triple H, who we're going to be talking about here, we haven't said, didn't mention the match at the beginning of the show, but the match that we're covering is, and we're not going to get any actual build to it necessarily, but the match we're covering is a triple threat with Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Triple H in the main event of No Mercy.
Yes, sorry.
But but I want to mention that Triple H here is quickly becoming the cornerstone of the corporation now that The Rock was eliminated on Monday Night Raw, and Triple H is coming out first here with Shane and the corporation, and he's starting to get that real push here to the top of the card. We're starting to see the evolution of the game character. It's starting to come into formation here.
Yeah, and I think on Raw he just debuted in the trunks the night before, or 2 days before this, or whatever, hadn't he? Or maybe not, but he had that
during
theme
this
music.
Build, yeah.
Maybe that's later, but he had that theme music. It's My Time, which is my favorite theme music is ever, but it's like the generic one without the lyrics and stuff. So really cool to see that, because he had some Bobo music in between, like, or no, I think he's gonna get that soon. I'm sorry, I think I'm getting out of order here. Sorry, but what he did have was some creative wrestler music. It sounded like Big Cass's theme. It was awful.
It's
it was
terrible.
awful. Yeah, it's like creative wrestler number 4 on No Mercy,
exactly
the video
what it
game or
sounds
something. It's so bad. Yeah, that's right. I apologize. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, but he's going to, like you said, he's moving into a more prominent role. He's going to get some better suited music, and he's going to get the trunks soon. So, yeah, we'll be covering him a little bit here because, yeah, he's in this triple threat match we're eventually going to cover here on Talking Taker.
That's right. Well, Shane in his promo, he basically sends Vince and Steph away from the building, and then he books a match for the night with The Rock and Stone Cold as tag team partners here for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Then Shane asks the corporation who wants to face them, and Triple H volunteers first. And then Shane, in a funny little pun, asks, are there any other takers? And that brings up the Taker on the Tron, who says to Austin, this past Monday, you ruined a very special ceremony. I was moments away from making Stephanie my bride.
Monday night, you played the role of the spoiler. Tonight, I'm going to play multiple roles. Judge, jury, executioner. Corner.
Yeah, so here we go. More murder. He's going to kill him.
Yep.
Tonight.
Bomb him alive.
Yep, probably so. So, yeah, but it's cool. It's cool to see this match is going to be, 4 huge names, again. So, in hindsight, it's neat to look back and see that. So, yeah, so it's going to be Taker and Triple H to face Rock and Austin, which, man, what a big, man, if you're coming out swinging for your debut on a broadcast,
they're trying to, man.
Television show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, then The Rock gives a promo in the ring later on, and he's running down Shane, Triple H, and the corporation, and he says that he and Austin will team up, but they're not friends, and Austin comes out to the ring, and this is some of my favorite stuff I've ever seen from Austin. He's walking, as he does his 4-corner post, like, get up and pose. Every time he walks by The Rock, he just double flicks him off as he walks by. It just kind of gives him the sideways eyes. He doesn't really, like, make direct contact with him. He's not overselling it. It's just subtle, but it's so funny to me, man.
Which is
Austin's
good.
underrated as a comedian.
Well, they should not be immediately friends, even though Rock is babyface now. They have been feuding for months. They just fought the last pay-per-view, and they're forced to tag with each other, but they still don't like each other, even though the crowd cheers for them. It has not changed who they are as characters.
Right. Absolutely. And they're taking jabs at each other, and probably for a shoot, too, because I know Austin's, at this point, he's talked about, he's trying to protect his spot because Rock's rising up, and he says he'll always see Rock as a punk kid out here spitting out nursery rhymes, which I thought was pretty funny. So I think Triple H says that a little bit later on, too, and they you can tell Triple H and Rock have some heat between them in real life, too, when they go back and forth. And they both admitted that, they're older, wiser men now, but back then these guys were all vying for the same spot, man.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, Shane comes out again as if we didn't have enough corporation. So, and here he's going to tell us about his plan getting bigger, and better. And I'll let you take it from here.
Well, that brings out The Undertaker to interrupt Shane McMahon, who stands side by side with The Undertaker at this moment. And Shane asks, are you beginning to understand now? Talking to Rock and Austin. Are you feeling the power? And then Shane says, well, let me spell it out for you a little bit more. So then Triple H and Paul Bearer walk out together, and then the rest of the ministry and the rest of the corporation come out as the announcers for this show are Cornette, again, on commentary, along with Michael Cole this time. They start screaming, well, it's a merger from hell. And Shane says, Austin, Rock, let me introduce you to the corporate ministry.
There you go. The corporate ministry, as we know it, is born on this night. And I didn't get to see this live. I hate that. But, man, this doesn't make any sense. We'll see where it's going.
It really doesn't.
But I will say I do like the play we're going to get eventually. I like it better for some reason than the ministry. Maybe because it's less dark. Maybe because it's less overtones of this satanic, like, cult leader. But, again, this guy we just told, like we talked about last week's episode, this guy's just Mark now. He's Mark. He's playing a character. The character's gone to his head. Well, then why the heck is he in cahoots with Shane McMahon here then? Like, I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense storytelling-wise, but
what does either guy accomplish from joining up with the other one? That's what I don't fully understand, and I don't know if they fully explain it. I don't think they do in this build, and I'm not sure if they are going to in the months to come either. But
yeah, we might get to that with the higher power. I can't remember, but we'll see as we unfold in these chapters and rewrite them. So
to me, I don't know if I like it better, because to me it feels like we're just blowing through storyline at this point rapidly, and corporate ministry has at this point basically become like a bloated NWO. Sort of the same problem they had. NWO was great when there was 3, 4, 5, 6 guys or so, but eventually it became 20 guys with all these jobbers in there.
Yeah.
And corporate ministry is now like a dozen guys together. To me,
it really is.
Some people may like that. To me, I like a faction to be no more than 5 or 6 guys. That's when it starts to get out of control for me.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. I just like where the storyline is headed with one of my favorite, most underrated factions ever. I love them, but we'll talk about them in a few minutes. Yeah, that's why I love this corporate ministry merger. But I do want to say the merger from hell, WWE was calling that the AOL Time Warner merger that eventually led to their death. So corporate ministry, AOL Time Warner, whatever you want to call it, that's the merger from hell. So
same level.
Anyway, I want to mention this too. Drop this line there. I would encourage anyone to go back and watch this episode of SmackDown, because for the first time ever, the Brood speaks, and hands down, the worst promo I've ever seen in my life is Gangrel. He's worse than the guys on What Happened When last week with Tony Schiavone. So he's bad.
It's on that same level.
Oh, he's never spoken before in front of people. You can tell he gets all flustered, and then Edge gives the cheesiest over the top promo, but he's all right.
He's not that much better.
No, but it's awful.
But that's what we're talking about here, like the evolution of one person's character. That's a cool thing to see.
Right.
And we're going to talk about Edge a lot on this show. But go back and look at that as far as, Edge's promos are one of his best things later on as he became the Rated R Superstar.
Yeah.
And he legit Hall of Famer. He came a long way from this promo here with Doc Hendricks.
Oh, yeah. Who they call Michael. They're breaking the fourth wall here, too. Mm-hmm. They call him Michael. They out him as Michael Hayes. So, everybody's just playing a character now, man. Playing a character. So, anyway, Shamrock beats Bradshaw in a match for some reason. And then we get the main event, which is, again, a huge match, man. We got Triple H coming out with the Corporation. Taker comes out with Paul Bearer and Shane McMahon by his side, which I thought was a nice little twist there. Shane's not coming out with the Corporation. He waits to come out with Taker. So, pretty cool. And Rox starts solo, of course, and Austin is going to come in late. Like, that's his signature. Like, if he's a tag partner, he's going to come in late and save the day, kind of, which I didn't really notice until we keep going throughout this build-up. That's kind of his signature spot. So, and it's pandemonium everywhere, Cornette says. So
it is. And you brought up a good point in your notes here that the boss man right now is fighting side by side with the Undertaker, because the corporate ministry is going to come in and interfere at the end of this match. The dude that just hung the big boss man 4 weeks ago is now fighting side by side with him, and we don't really understand why at this point. It's all nothing matters. We're getting really into that era here. But Big Show, Shamrock, and Test come out to help the good guys as chaos going on, as Shane slides a chair into the Undertaker, but Vince ends up punching his son Shane in the face, saves Austin from a chair shot. Taker nails Vince in the head with a stiff chair shot. Stands over,
man.
Taker stands over Vince, celebrating, but then eats a Stone Cold Stunner. So Shane attacks Vince, and then he gets a stunner from Austin, and we end the show with Austin chugging some beers, celebrating. That's how the premiere episode of SmackDown goes off the air. And again, this was just originally shot as a one-off special, sort of a test run. And like you said, they're throwing everything out there to try to earn that spot on the fall schedule, and it worked. And one other interesting thing, I just think it's cool that we're getting to see Triple H and Undertaker teaming up as a tag team for the first time ever. And here we are 20 years later, and they're going to be main eventing a pay-per-view here, the Super SmackDown Under, as you like to call it here. Very timely. Man, it's neat to see how far they've come in their evolution, if you will.
No, I will, man. Evolution, Triple H, absolutely. Not the women's pay-per-view, but yeah.
Yeah, not that.
Yeah, that's coming up too. But anyway, they're going to be at SmackDown Under, or whatever the heck it's called. That's what I'm going to call it. So, it's really neat, man, to see this kind of coinciding with that. So the first time they team up here. So Cool stuff. I can't recommend that episode of SmackDown enough. It's fun to watch and
It's
fun to see the first
historic,
one. But that's going to
for
bring us
sure.
to Heat. Yeah, it is. Heat 2 days later, I guess, or 3 days later, we got Heat 40 on May 2nd. We recap the formation of the ministry, basically, and then you got 2 limos. Everybody's getting out, Then you have this weird thing where Michael Cole, investigative journalist, gives this, recap of the 4 generations of the McMahons that have taken over WWF, and they have all this integrity and yada yada, and until Shane disrespected Vince. And then he talks about the unholy wedding and all the recent goings on, and it says, is it all a coincidence, or is Shane in on it? And then Shane kind of pitches a hissy fit backstage, and you have some other stuff going on through the night. I don't want to break into every single thing, but you got all kind of, basically you got people from what's going to become a stable we're going to talk about. We got them feuding with the ministry, corporate ministry, like you got Shamrock and Test and Mankind and Big Show. They're all kind of interacting with the corporate ministry members, and Big Show's hunting for Taker, and some neat stuff. But
it's all essentially setting up tomorrow night's episode of Raw. And also Shane McMahon and the corporate ministry, they come out with some new music to cut a promo. It's the first time we hear the mashup of the No Chance in Hell song along with the ministry's music, the Undertaker's music. So very recognizable there. And always enjoy when they do the mashup theme song.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
But Shane McMahon
absolutely
sets up some matches for Over the Edge, which we're going to cover on next week's episode of Talking Taker. Most importantly, it's going to be Rock and Triple H and Austin versus Undertaker for the WWF Championship. And this time, Shane McMahon is going to be the referee yet again for Stone Cold Steve Austin's matchup to try to screw him out of the title one more time.
Yep, one more time, as if once wasn't enough. Let's keep it rolling, because if that's one thing that they like to go to a lot, is the special referee stuff and people getting arrested. I think Big Show got arrested on this episode of Heat as well for breaking the limo windows out. I want to mention too, all 4 of those, or he's got 2x4 with him, so keep that in your mind as we talk about what's going to happen up here on this episode of Raw we're getting to on May 3rd, 1999. And I just want to say this is one of my favorite episodes of Raw. I don't know why. I just remember it like it was yesterday. This one and the next week we're going to cover 2 of my favorite episodes. I just like the way they're structured. I like the storytelling throughout them. Really fun, man. Really fun.
They are great companion pieces to each other. These 2 episodes of Raw go hand in hand. And I know I've been down on a lot of the stuff we've been covering the past few weeks of the show. It's been kind of torturous to go through, in my opinion. But God, these 2 episodes of Raw, they woke me back up. They reinvigorated my spirit. They were so much fun, so easy to watch. And we'll try to run through the important stuff on here real quick. But Raw's from May 3rd and May 10th, 1999. If you want to see all the awesome stuff of the Attitude Era, watch these 2 episodes of Raw right here. A lot of stuff you could skip through, but watch all of these 2 episodes front to back.
Oh yeah, it's just crazy and just amazing, and just again, this is the peak of Russo stuff, like his style of TV and his writing. We got this crash TV stuff, but it's perfect, man. It plays so well, and everyone has a role. Everything intertwines. Everything makes sense. So almost everything makes sense. So I'll leave that nugget dangling there for you. So we got the core ministry kicking off the show again. Shane's running down the fans. Hunter runs down the Rock for a shoot. Bear's holding the mic for Taker, which that's Bear's new thing. He's the microphone holder for Taker. So
it's a shame.
He's taking a step back. I know, man. But
Taker delivers a great quote here.
I hate everyone.
But there's no one he hates more than Stone Cold. So when they meet it Over the Edge, the Undertaker says, I'm going to play the Executioner. And I thought, oh God, please don't play the Executioner, man. No one needs to see that again.
Bam Bam?
Yeah. No, we don't want that anymore.
And he says he's going to sacrifice Austin to a power even greater than I. So again, they leave that thread out there for you. They've mentioned it a couple times. We're going to pick up on it in a few months. But he says, after I take your title over the edge, I'm going to sacrifice you to a power even greater than I. So, which is really neat to see. And Shane gives Vince 2 hours to get here tonight for his master plan. And at this point, man, this is the group I'm talking about, man. I love these guys. I don't know why. Man.
Mankind, Ken Shamrock, Test, and the Big Show all come out together to interrupt the corporate ministry's promo here. They're all carrying Hacksaw Jim Duggan's 2x4s that he let them borrow here. And then Mankind is leading the way here, saying that they are all disgruntled former employees of the corporation, which is
so cool.
I like
continuity.
that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what do disgruntled former employees do? They're going to form a union against Shane McMahon.
Yeah, he's like, we don't have any fancy initials like SAG, like Screen Actors Guild, or he gives another one, I don't know. But he's like, we're just a union of people that you ought to respect, Shane. He's like, wait a minute, we do have initials. Up yours. And dude, as a 13-year-old, man, I love that, dude. I don't know why. I loved it. It was so great, man. They head to the ring and start laying waste to these corporate ministry jabronis as like the main event players basically get out unscathed. And I just want to say too, man, like the crowd immediately starts going, union, union. So these dudes are already over with like that, just the blink of an eye, man. The crowd's chanting union. They got a name, they have some crappy music coming up soon.
Mankind can get anything over, man.
He can. A freaking sock, dude. And Up Yours, the Union. I love the Union. I don't know why they're short-lived, but I don't remember if it was WrestleMania 2000 or the No Mercy video game. They had them on there, and their music was like Union, which is not anything we hear.
Not yet.
For this generic creative wrestler, yeah.
They do get their own music on here,
good
which
stuff,
is
man.
I love because they're only around for like a month, but they get their own music and entrance and all this sort of stuff. But
yeah,
it's fantastic. And I just want to talk about, real quick, can we talk about the incredibly hilarious irony of the fact that Vince McMahon is booking a group called The Union to be his big babyface faction? And we know how much Vince McMahon hates the idea of wrestlers forming a union, but here they are, The Union, big babyface group. And Vince is going to join them.
I know.
Vince McMahon is going to join the union. That's just hilarious to me.
Against the corporation.
Yeah.
He's going to rage against the machine. Just in a moment of irony. It's hilarious, man, to look back on. So I never thought about it that way until you just pointed it out. So that's great. It's so funny. So speaking of new music, we got the debut of an iconic Attitude Era theme song here, and that's Billy Gunn's music. So I just want to say, a travesty of human composition. That song is so bad. It's so iconic, though. But yeah, sorry, that debuts here too, though.
You love to pick 'em and stick 'em.
A little tight when you stop him on a dime. Why are they standing on a dime?
I don't know.
Anyway,
so yeah, Billy Gunn and X-Pac have a match after that opening segment, and then immediately we get the corporate ministry coming out yet again. So a little bit of overkill here, but it's going to lead to something. As Shane McMahon says that he's made a few lineup changes to the show tonight in response to the union. While he's saying that, we see Vince, Stephanie, and for the first time ever, Linda McMahon making their way all into the arena. So Shane has his clipboard out, and he makes a few changes to the card. Basically makes a bunch of handicap matches for all the union members, very difficult, challenging matches for them. Except for Big Show. Big Show is going to go one-on-one with The Undertaker later on tonight.
Thanks, Teddy.
And then the main event is going to be Rock and Austin with the corporate ministry on the outside as lumberjacks. So as he's saying all that, Vince is going to make his way out to the ring and actually gets a babyface reaction here.
He does. He's flanked by Stephanie, Linda, and some cops, and he warns Shane not to take this too far, and says that your family doesn't support you. And like you said, it's Linda's on-screen debut, and Shane challenges Vince to a match tonight. He says, "How about it, Pop?" Which I just thought nice little callback to Pete Rose here.
Absolutely.
So Linda then gets on the mic and tries to talk some sense into Shane, and before she can get pretty much more than 3 words out of his mouth, he's like, "You shut your mouth." I thought about Wedding Crashers when he's like, "You shut your mouth when you're talking to me." So that's what I could picture there. And then Vince grabs Shane by the his lapel of his jacket here, and you don't talk to his mom that way. You don't talk to your mother that way. Not at all. So I mean, Vince can later on and make out with people in front of her and stuff. Yeah. But at this point in time, we don't. And then Shane goes here and he drops this bombshell that we've been waiting for. He says that he was the mastermind behind Stephanie's abduction.
It was me.
Good
What?
God.
I knew if Daddy's little girl was in a weakened position that you would crumble. That you would leave the business like a hot potato, and I was there to pick up the pieces. How do you think the Undertaker got into our house? How do you think he got Stephanie's little teddy bear? How do you think that the pictures were taken?
It was Shane.
Which brings me to wonder, those pictures that she had were like of her like risque. So did Shane take pictures of his own sister and then give them to take?
She didn't say that the pictures of her were risque.
I know. I'm
But-
just kidding. Just kidding.
You know, this does. It's some convenient retconning here.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. I'll allow it. But and it lets the Undertaker off the hook a little bit from being a super
Sure.
mega creep. But let's still remember the fact that Undertaker sent Stephanie pictures of himself of what we don't know. But Undertaker undressed Stephanie and put her in the wedding outfit. She did say that, and she did say that he touched her last week during the wedding, and they had his hands over her, so he was undressing her. So this was not just some psychological mind games, whatever, that Shane is masterminding here. Undertaker, in canon, did some gross stuff with Stephanie too. I just want to let's not forget about that. He's still a disgusting perverted creep here.
Yes, Mark is here at this point, whoever it is. So, yeah, no, you're right. And this is going to set Vince off. We got angry Vince. He's not weepy or mopey anymore. And he is basically says that he's going to take – I'm sorry. Let me pause real quick. He says that he's going to take on Shane tonight, and he goes to attack him, and the corporate ministry lays the boots to him, and they back off pretty quickly, and Linda and Stephanie tend to him, and the match is on tonight, and Vince is going to send them to the hotel with the cops so they won't see the match. So I guess their hotel doesn't have USA Network on it. So anyway, and another little bit of irony and just sheer funny to look back and see. I forgot to mention this when you were talking about the matches that Shane's making. When he makes that Rock and Austin match, Hunter leans over in his ear and whispers something into it. And that's the idea he got to make the Lumberjacks, which I just thought how funny that he's leaning into his future brother-in-law's ear making matches, like that's what Hunter does nowadays. So it's just kind of funny to look back and see that irony too. So yeah, good stuff.
Another thing that was pretty cool on this show was we see the Stooges facing off against Rodney and Pete Gas in basically it's not really a match, it's a fight. But I tell you what, man, this crowd loves it. This crowd, I think part of what makes this episode of Raw so great is this crowd.
And next week's,
They were crazy loud during X-Pac and Billy Gunn earlier in the show.
Oh, yeah.
They're like shaking the camera, stomping on the ground. They go nuts for Patterson and Briscoe beating up the Mean Street Posse, which is, I don't know why the crowd loved that so much, because they're going to love it again the next week, and it's going to be one of the highest rated segments of all time. But for some reason, and I love it watching it now. I don't get it, but I love it.
Oh yeah, me neither. It's great though, man, and it's good stuff, man. I really enjoyed this whole episode, like I said, and then you got so much storytelling. Like I said, we don't need to break down all the matches that Shane booked, but basically they're all going to be just progressing the story. The corporate ministry and the union are going to fight during every single match, basically.
Yes.
They're going to screw each other in and out of matches. And one little thing, too, is that we got the corporate ministry backstage walking for a quote-unquote office call, they say. And then later on in the night, we're going to see Hunter, Chyna, and Taker and Bearer leave Vince's office, and the doors open, and you see Taker kind of putting the boots to him and walking away. So they've, kind of softening him up for the blow that he's going to take with his match for Shane. So, and that actually happens the next thing. And so Shane wants the ref to count as Vince won't make it. He staggers out. Shane beats him up. Vince hits a clothesline and Stone Cold Stunner, and he pins Shane McMahon. And I just wrote that probably should have been saved for a pay-per-view. Yeah. But they're rushing through segments. They're rushing through storyline. Like you mentioned, all this stuff is just going 90 miles an hour, and it's really cool to see. But I was just like, man, dang, that could have been saved for No Mercy, you know,
Well, they
or not
probably
No Mercy, but for the next week, Over the Edge.
yeah,
So,
they could have saved the Big Show and Undertaker's first encounter
yeah.
for a pay-per-view too, but they do build it up a lot on commentary throughout the night, saying it's going to be a big deal
Mm-hmm.
for these two guys, and they're still treating Big Show as a huge star, as a big free agent coming over, and they have a nice little short TV match. They go right after each
Yeah.
other and show manhandles Undertaker. Man, he
Mm-hmm.
picks him up, throws him into the corner. And Taker even stumbles going for the perfect 10 when Show
Yeah, he
clotheslines him out
does.
of the ring. He actually doesn't quite hit the perfect 10, which is, I think, the first time we've ever seen that. And then we get
Yeah.
something ridiculous we just have to talk about here.
Oh
As
yeah.
So Undertaker is stumbling. He's weary by the Big Show. Thankfully, Paul Bearer has the secret bottle of ether at the ready, and he starts getting the cloth ready to go. Undertaker says, "Nay, nay, no more with that cloth. Let me just rub it all over my elbow pad instead and head back into the ring." And I'm so glad you pointed this out on your notes as well, because let's talk about this for a second. As they always do, the commentary team, as soon as they see the bottle
Smells
of
it.
ether, yeah, they smell it a mile away. They are on the other side of the ring talking about how strong that ether smell is. And yet, neither the referee nor the Big Show seem to notice it at all.
They're 2 feet away from Taker.
Uh-huh.
They're unaffected by it. They're not acknowledging it. But yeah, JR and King are like, oh, what? My God, it's an awful smell. Yada, yada. It's just, the front row can smell it. It's just terrible. And yeah, like he said, Show's not selling it. The referee's not. So it's just like, come on, man. Let's be a little bit more realistic here. But whatever. It's crazy, man. So yeah, he puts it on his elbow pad and gets Big Show in a sleeper hold. But it doesn't put the big man down all the way. He gets down to one knee, doesn't take him out, and then Bear slides a baseball bat. And this is the part I mentioned last week's Raw or whatever it was, or SmackDown, is where he hits him with a baseball bat
around the ringside area.
I have no idea. They're really big into lumber at this point. I got 2x4s and baseball bats. So, but I don't know. But this is the part where Taker breaks it over his head. This is the one I meant to mention. This is the gimmick one. You can see Show do a blade job as he's about to get hit with it, but it's really cool. Taker hits him and chokes him out, and I just wrote, man, it's a well-produced, well-gimmicked, well-sold by Big Show. DQ finish, of course, but it's just, man, it really looks cool. Really looks cool, and they sell it really well later. Showing Big Show up close, his eyes are all puffy and stuff. Like it looks really good.
It was well done, man. I enjoyed it. It's a fun throwback with the ether rag.
Oh yeah,
I appreciated that.
Yeah.
The end of the show is really fun too.
Oh my goodness!
It's Austin and Rock, like we said, in that lumberjack match, and it quickly turns into a massive brawl, and eventually the entire roster ends up running out and getting involved in all of this. Literally everyone, not just the Ministry and Union, everyone, Godfather, Hardcore Holly, X-Pac,
Brood,
all these guys come out.
Al Snow, Mark Henry, D-Lo, all these guys come out. It's a Pier 6 brawl. Everyone is fighting each other, which is not unlike what we saw recently on an actual episode of Monday Night Raw here in 2018. Sure. So Rock's getting swarmed by China and Triple H and Taker on the stage. I think that, is this part where Austin and Taker had fought into the Brood's little entrance hole?
Yeah, they're fighting over by their stage, and then the stage lowers down, and they slip into the Brood's hole.
Yeah. Whoa, be careful how you say that.
So then they come back out of the Brood's hole, and Undertaker ends up tossing Austin off the stage through some tables there. And the show ends with Undertaker, Triple H, and China standing tall.
Yeah, Rock gets tossed off. He gets hit in the head with a light bulb or something, like a big stage light by Hunter, and he gets tossed off the stage basically. And then Austin takes a table bump off of the stage. I did not remember that. I remember this episode of Raw. I did not remember this table bump because he pretty much protects himself when it comes to this kind of stuff after his neck issue. And it was really cool to see that. And that last camera shot is Austin and Rock kind of in the rubble down there, and Taker and Hunter and China posing. And I just wrote, man, that's how you get heat, man.
Absolutely. That's
how you get heat on the baby face. I mean, on the heels for the baby faces to have their, get their one up eventually, man. And this is a fun show from start to finish, and just good stuff, man. Really good show. Really enjoyed it. Can't recommend it enough.
The next week's show is really fun too, but just want to point out a couple of things on Heat from May 9th, 1999. The big thing I want to point out is that Big Show takes on Midian, and they actually show a video package recapping Big Show and Undertaker's rivalry here before the match. Almost as if Big Show and Undertaker are going to be
about 3
fighting
weeks.
at the pay-per-view. Yeah,
Right.
even though they're not. And that video package is 3 times as long as the match itself because, thank God, Big Show just squashes Midian with 3 moves. And then he goes over to the corner and grabs Midian's little souvenir eyeball that he carries around in his glass case.
Yeah, his pet.
Opens it up and squeezes the eyeball until it pops. And then shoves it into Midian's mouth. Fantastic.
This is so good, man. Midian is drunk Undertaker's blood, now he's eating his pet eyeball. He should remember when Tommy Dreamer had that thing where he would eat anything weird, like in 2002 or. I guess Midian started that here as his character.
Maybe that's where he was inspired
it's crazy. From. Yeah, that's. Yeah, and basically, so he calls out, he being Big Show, calls out Taker, and he says, and Taker comes on Titantron and says, go ahead, finish Midian off, because he's willing to face the ultimate price, and he says that I have to skin a snake first, and then I will come face to face with you, and I'm going to take your eye out and give it to Midian. Love
poor
it,
Midian.
Man. Love
poor
it.
Midian.
Yeah, I know, poor guy. He's amazing how tall he is. Like, Dennis Knight was a big guy.
No doubt.
A big guy. This is the night Triple H debuts with his My Time music without the lyrics. I just want to say that, and his little trunks. So, and also the Acolytes win the tag titles. Not really though, but it's kind of neat. They actually win. They beat X-Pac and Kane, except for Road Dogg is subbing in for Kane. So they actually get the win, but don't get a tag title. So
okay.
little coup in the hat for the corporate ministry there.
Yeah.
But and then we get corporate ministry discussing their game plan backstage before Rock comes out, and he apparently broke his arm on Raw getting thrown off the stage. He's got this Bobo cast on.
The fakest looking cast you'll ever see.
Yeah. It's like one you made in like health class when your teacher made you do it. Like, it's ridiculous. And basically he just says, I'm going to beat Triple H, and the corporate ministry comes out. Union comes out. They start brawling. Krause, Chan, and Austin, but he's not there. So that brings us to the Raw, the one. The big kahuna.
It is. It's the highest rated episode ever of Monday Night Raw. It scored an 8.1 rating, which, to put that into context, I believe Raw now typically does, around a 2-point set or 3-point something-ish?
Yeah.
Yeah,
something
in that
like that.
lower 3 range. And the ratings are different. There's a lot more channels nowadays.
Sure.
So the situation is different, but still. Huge difference between the peak of wrestling in North America, right there, as far as what ratings meant. And obviously, WWE's making more money than ever with their licensing deals and all that. So it's a different world. But pointing to where were the most people watching, right here, May 10th, 1999, and it is one of the best episodes of Raw ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, mine too. And I do want to mention one thing again. History is written by the winners, and I'm going to sound like a WCW shill here, but Raw is unopposed here. Okay, Nitro is preempted for the playoffs, so they do get 8.1, but some people are like 8.1, and no one watched Nitro. I'm like, no, but Nitro wasn't there. Yeah. Now, not being again, but WWF put their best foot forward on this freaking night, just like they did on the SmackDown pilot. This could have been a pay-per-view this whole night. It's awesome. They got great stuff going on, and they got two of the top 3 highest rated quarter hours ever in the history of Raw are on this night. So, and you'll be amazed what they're for too.
Yeah, and this show is fan service, dude. It's kind of reminds me of All In. All In was a very fan friendly. Everyone went home happy. That's this episode of Raw, because it's going to be a response to last week's episode where Shane came out and screwed over all the union guys, because the union and the corporation, I keep saying corporation, corporate ministry, they're all going to come out to start the show, but all of a sudden, Commissioner Shawn Michaels is going to appear on the Titantron for the first time in a while. He's going to give Shane McMahon a taste of his own medicine and basically rebook this entire show on the fly, just like Shane McMahon did last week. So that means that this time the Acolytes are going to face each other in a lumberjack match. Cactus Jack is going to face Viscera and Midian in a hardcore match. And he specifies Cactus Jack, not Mankind. The Stooges are going to face the Posse again in a loser leaves town match. And Big Show is going to face the 10th, 11th, and 12th wonder of the world, Paul Bearer. Great line.
So good, man. I love it, man. I love it.
And
Sean
Paul's
was perfect
response.
here.
Paul
Paul Bear faints. He falls over.
Immediately.
He's so golden. Immediately. He's going to face the Big Show. It's so perfect, man. I love it. And then finally, Shawn Michaels makes this main event. It's going to be Austin and The Rock tag teaming with Vince McMahon against The Undertaker, Triple H, and Shane McMahon. He says he's a special referee. And, of course, this whole time, there are three guys in riot suits in the crowd.
Right.
Excuse me, in the ring with the Union and Vince. And he tells them to take off their gear. One of them is Patterson, one of them is Briscoe, and the third one he says, "That handsome devil you." The third guy takes it off. It's freaking Shawn Michaels. He's there in the arena. So that was pretty cool. I'll never forget that moment watching it live. So he adds Vince as another special referee to that Taker Austin match at Over the Edge. So that's another cool thing he does here. And yeah, it's so good to see Shawn back and doing something cool. And it's just really cool, like you said, like the antithesis of last week's Brawl, where the corporation got one up on everything, and now the union's going to kind of get it, or the good guys are. So it's really fun. So.
And what's really fun too is this match that comes next. It's Paul Bearer against the Big Show. Paul Bearer's debut. I believe this is his first match ever, as far as I could tell. He may have had some in it was Percy Pringle back in those old days, but as far as Paul Bearer, this is his first match ever.
And you can tell because as he comes out, he goes, "I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a wrestler." So it's great. And basically, Shawn has to kick his butt, literally kick his butt.
Yeah, he does, and there's no way he would pass a physical to get in the ring in 2018. No. Morbidly obese. No.
Oh, yeah. Too much time in catering, as we mentioned. He loves the catering back there. So, yeah, he gets a big boot by Big Show, elbow drop, and then basically Big Show asked Shawn to put the stipulation saying that if anybody in the ministry, corporate ministry, interferes, Taker loses that title shot at Over the Edge. And Big Show says, "Can you waive that and have Taker come down here?" And Shawn's like, "Sure, what the heck?" So Taker comes out and they face off, and basically the corporate ministry attacks Big Show. Union comes out. Taker never gets in the ring. But again, we're building that storyline here too. At the same time, we're building everything else. So it's just a lot going on. So
then a lot goes on throughout this entire show. Big Boss Man defeats Test in the nightstick on a pole match.
Thanks to Russo for that pole match. Yeah.
Cactus Jack defeats Mideon and Viscera in a hardcore match. Farouk and Bradshaw getting up their fight. All this stuff with corporate ministry and the union going out against each other. And then the Posse and the Stooges have just another fun, really, really fun segment here that ends up being the highest rated match in the history of cable TV that was not an overrun. Now, we'll get to that here in a few weeks, but that's just insane.
Yeah. That's insane. Insane. And like you said in last week's Raw, this week's Raw is in Orlando. They're nuts. You'd think it's an NXT show like nowadays. This crowd in Orlando is crazy, man. They love every minute of it. This is so awesome. Who thought that the Posse versus Stooges, 4 guys who don't even wrestle anymore, the highest rated.
Well, hadn't wrestled in 20 years. Patterson and Briscoe at that point.
But so many digs at WCW too, and Hulk Hogan. It's so funny to watch this. So good. So anyway, let's get to the main event here.
Yeah. The main event, like you said, is stacked with star power here, a 6-man tag, and basically ends up with Shane attacking Vince, and then The Rock finally gets there, and they triple team Vince and The Rock before Stone Cold does his standard coming into a tag match 5 minutes late.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Undertaker ends up choking Vince McMahon with the electrical cords. Taker and Austin brawl on the ramp. Rock and Triple H brawl. It's what we've seen for these main events lately. Not really a match, just a lot of fighting around on the outside. But what happens in the finish?
Oh, so Shane gives elbows to Vince, but then he gets hit with a Stone Cold Stunner. Shane does, and Vince goes to pin Shane, but then Austin pulls him off at 2, who's on his team. And picks Shane up, stuns him again, and pins him himself. So he wants to get the win for himself. He's on Vince's team here, but he's not really on his team. He's not going to let Vince have the glory of pinning his son, 2 weeks in a row, I guess, here. So that's how we close out this night. Again, this is technically all building toward Over the Edge, but we have a little pit stop in the way across the pond at No Mercy. So they kind of managed to make this stuff work in this match we're about to break down. So it's kind of neat. That's why we want to go ahead and give all this. Plus, we want to make our Over the Edge episode not 2.5 hours long.
Even though this one might be.
Yeah.
This is the No Mercy UK pay-per-view. They are going to have another No Mercy pay-per-view in the United States in October, but actually Undertaker will not be on that one, so we won't be covering that one. So this takes place May 16th, 1999 in Manchester yet again, the Manchester Arena, which they bring up many, many times that they're there and talk about all the Mancunians in the audience, which I don't know.
That can't be right.
Yeah, somebody tell us, UK listeners, if that's actually the appropriate phrase there. I don't know.
There's no way that's right, man. That's Mancunian candidate? I don't get it.
That's what it sounded like.
Anyway, I wanted to mention, I don't know, you're right. That's what they say. But I want to say one thing about this pay-per-view. It's an actual pay-per-view this time. The other ones we covered are on Sky Sports, apparently for free. But according to Pritchard, this is episode 69 of Something to Wrestle. He talks about this one. Sky Sports tried something else new. They did it on their channel, but it was actually a pay-per-view. So this is their first technically pay-per-view where the consumers had to pay for it, whereas it used to be if you just subscribe to Sky Sports, kind of like HBO, you got the pay-per-views for free.
Right.
This one's actually pay-per-view. So anyway, I thought it was kind of neat. So let's drop those little nuggets in when we can. So
we're rolling in the money, dude, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it's nothing special here. Again, the main event is going to be Undertaker, Triple H, and Stone Cold for the title and a handicap match. They have a video package that they show a couple times in the show, basically treating it as a glorified handicap match, sort of like throwing back to Breakdown in your house with Undertaker and Kane against Stone Cold Steve Austin in that same vein, because you got two members from the corporate ministry teaming up to try to steal the title. And the corporate ministry is going to cut a promo here at the beginning of the show just to reinforce all of that. And Shane McMahon makes the main event triple threat a no-holds-barred, no DQ match.
He's giving his promo. He's like,
it will now be governed under no hold barred rules. No holds barred? That's not fair.
You can tell he's like he means to say no DQ, but he's going with no holds barred because he probably watched that movie 1,000 times. But
watched it on the plane ride over.
No holds barred, and then like you can tell he's someone. He gets flustered. You can see it in his face. But basically, it's a no DQ match. So anyway, there's a bunch of corporate ministry matches all night. They interfere in each other's matches all night, which will come to play later on in the show. They even decimate Mankind in the locker room before his match with Billy Gunn, who, strangely enough, has been kind of teased. Is he aligned with the corporate ministry or not? I forgot that little thread that they had going, but it's been kind of teased over the weeks. Has he a part of them or not? So, and one thing I forgot to mention is we've been covering Taker here as his evolution. He's basically a samurai now. He's got this samurai haircut. His hair's pulled back on the sides and like it's up on the top of his head like a Chris Jericho almost, and sides are cut real short. So that's been about 3 weeks now. He's been doing that samurai hair. So I just want to mention that as we talk about his evolution, his character, and his hair, and his facial piercings and tattoos and all that. So
Samurai Mark.
Yeah, but that video they showed, they edited it so well to make it seem like this match is built on television.
Yeah,
you can tell they're cutting like audio comments and stuff, but they basically make it seem like it's going to be like this match has been built up on Raw for the last 3 weeks, but it hasn't. But it's pretty cool to see them, be able to use that, in post production and edit something together to find that out, make it sound like it's legit. So
I agree, they sell it really well, and we've had a lot of fun covering the UK pay-per-views, I think.
Yeah.
The matches have been surprisingly good. Undertaker and Bret Hart, and then the Fatal 4-Way, that was surprisingly fun at Capital Carnage. Unfortunately, this one is going to be a bit of a letdown from those, but Triple H comes out with China. They come out first, and then Undertaker comes out with Paul Bearer, and appreciate commentary here. King actually brings up a good point that with Taker and Paul Bearer, Triple H and Chyna, Stone Cold is all by himself. So it's not only a handicap match, it's actually more like a 4-on-1 match. since it's no holds barred, no DQ, and you've got all 4 people trying to steal the title from Shane McMahon. Plus, you got the corporate ministry who could interfere at any time as well.
I think the only match I did not interfere in is draws, which I wouldn't want to either because they'll puke on you. So, anyway, but yeah, we got them out there, and I don't understand my same problem I had with Breakdown, which was why don't they just take out Austin and then run in the ring and pin each other? Like, why doesn't Triple H or Taker just pin each other? If you want to go with the story, I don't know. I just feel like they should do that, and Austin should be playing the story of trying to keep them from pinning each other. I don't know. That'd be a unique way to do it.
Yeah. I guess they're, the pride gets in the way. They don't want to.
Sure.
No, neither one of them wants to lay down for the other one,
Right.
and we're gonna kind of see that throughout here. But yeah, it's a bit of a leap.
Yeah, absolutely. We're fighting in the aisleway, and Undertaker follows him up there, and he has a title belt and hits these horribly weak shots to Austin with the Smoking Skull belt. Austin's trying to fight him off. Basically, it's like I said, it's a handicap match. We got the UK soccer air horns and the chants going on, and Austin and Hunter are brawling in the crowd. They kind of keep going in and over like the guardrails like throughout the whole match. And I do want to mention here too that you can hear audibly a lot of spots being called in this match. I don't know if you remember, I did with my headphones on. But Austin actually looks over at Earl and asks for the time. And I could just, in my head, I heard Tizon, like we talked about with Hogan. But he's like, hey, what's the time? And he's like, we got 16 left. And so I just thought it was funny to hear that because in my head, I was just like, what's the Tizon, brother? So,
you could probably hear it too because, as JR notes, the crowd is hushed for this matchup. And he says it's because of all of what they've witnessed so far. But I don't know about that. It just never really catch the crowd here with this matchup. And the big thing that we haven't talked about that why this match is a bit of a letdown is that the Undertaker is very obviously hurt during this match, and I didn't see him get hurt during the match. I think you said it looked like he's limping on the way to the ring.
To me it did. Yeah,
I didn't notice that as much, but very early on here we see they're fighting all around the ring at first, and Austin trying to separate them, but Undertaker and Triple H keep continuing to work him over. But they get in the ring, and Undertaker nails Austin with a clothesline. Then Undertaker just collapses down to his knees after hitting the clothesline. He's clearly not selling. He seems legitimately hurt or tired. It's just very, very strange there as he just cannot support himself anymore. And we're not even 5 minutes into the match, and that's going to be the major thing that we see here over the next few minutes. Triple H tries to take over and give Undertaker some time to heal himself. I don't know what was going on, if it was his ankle or knee, leg, something. He is definitely not even really 50% here.
Oh, no, not at all. And before we started recording this, we mentioned, back before Hell in a Cell and King of the Ring in 98, he got hurt. And I think he's still hurt from that, almost a year later here. I think it's just he's got these nagging injuries. I know Pritchard always talks about how he never would complain or sell his pain or anything. He just dug his heels in and went with it. So I don't know, man, but here's the first time we really see him in like his weakened state, as a shoot. Maybe it's because he's Mark now, not the Undertaker.
Could be. He's not getting his power from the urn anymore.
Exactly. So, and speaking of power, Hebner flexes his power muscle here, and Triple H is going to hit Austin with a chair, and Earl Hebner steals it from him. It's no DQ.
He saves his boy Austin.
I know. It's ridiculous, man. It made me mad.
Well, Austin grabs the chair back, and he nails both of these guys, Undertaker and Triple H with the chair. Yeah. Then Austin goes for a super lazy pin there and only gets 2, which he deserved, man. He didn't hook the leg. He just barely covered Triple H. Only gets 2 here. And you can see Undertaker. He's doing like the Andre the Giant thing where he is punching and kicking Austin, but he's holding onto the top rope the entire time he's doing it.
Yeah,
Undertaker will not.
It's weird.
He's having to use the top rope to hold on to support himself, which is crazy to see the Undertaker having to do that. And then Undertaker and Triple H do as we said. They start arguing with each other about who's going to end up beating Austin, who's going to get the pinfall here, much like Kane and Undertaker did, which leads to one of my favorite parts of the match, that Austin, while Triple H and Undertaker are arguing, this allows him to trip up the Undertaker and crotch him on the ring post, which JR calls...
That's a Death Valley blow right there!
So, Travis, I propose that from now on, we officially refer to the crotch area of any wrestler as Death Valley on this podcast, as JR just called it. I think we have to go with that.
So when we say the Undertaker's from Death Valley, are we saying that's just he's from his dad? His mom, I guess?
Mom, yeah.
Okay,
Pop
all right. So
Death Valley.
a low blow will now be called the Death Valley. All right, sounds good.
I think so.
Gets him in the Death Valley. I love
JR
it,
called
man.
it. We're going to go with it.
Let's make a shirt for that. So it doesn't bode well for your Clemson Tigers and the arena that they play football in.
You're right. But Death Valley with a little arrow pointing down.
Oh, exactly.
I'm down with it.
It's terrible. Terrible. Let's do it. And then we get some craziness right here because after we get the Death Valley spot, we get Austin actually slips on the mat and takes Hunter to hits him in the steps in the ring post, and then Taker attacks from behind, and he locks on what basically that UFC leg move. I think JR calls it a leg lace. And Hunter breaks it up, and the two start shoving each other outside. And then Taker stabs Hunter in the back and basically starts beating him up. And the best part of this whole interaction between these two guys is that not only are they fighting, we get Paul Bear getting in Chyna's face, and the camera goes over there, and he's doing like these karate moves to her. And it is so good. It's so good.
This match is not good, but it's worth it just to see Paul Bear doing his kung fu fighting over there in the corner.
It's like he forgot it wasn't a house show, because it basically is.
Oh, it basically is. Yeah, exactly. Austin and Hunter end up teaming up here against Undertaker, and shades of their future team up here in a couple years, the two-man power trip. And that should get the crowd to pop, you would think, that the two heels are now squaring off against each other, but crowd is just surprisingly not into any of this, man.
Yeah, not at all, man. It's crazy. And I don't get it, but I don't know. Maybe they just weren't feeling it. Maybe because it wasn't built up on TV yet, really. So I don't know.
Triple H is trying that. Triple H is bumping like crazy, selling huge.
He is, man. And Taker pulls Hunter off Austin after they do that facebuster, that Triple H knee facebuster spot, which I used to love when he did that. And again, Triple H calls that spot so loud. He goes facebuster, and Austin's like, what? Because he can't hear anything. So
You're right.
It's great. And then the next spot of the match, Austin goes, Hunter, get ready. And it's just funny to hear, because you can hear all this. Because like you said, the crowd is just kind of dead, And basically, so Austin, I'm trying to get this right. Okay, so Austin gets pulled up for a tombstone, and he reverses it into a stunner attempt, which is kind of sloppy. I think Taker's off on his, he's off on his legs are kind of wobbly. Then he pushes Austin into Triple H, who goes for a pedigree. Austin double leg trips him and then gives him that awesome like leg toss. I don't know what you'd call it, but he grabs him by the legs and falls backward and throws Triple H over his head into Undertaker, who grabs him and catches him with a choke slam and hits it on Hunter. So man, that was a cool little sequence right there.
It was.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Something you see in a lot of triple threats nowadays, where everyone's kind of hitting their finishers on each other. It's really well done here. So enjoyed that part of it. And that's really, setting up the finish here. Undertaker is able to manage to Undertaker does manage to hit Austin in his Death Valley here at one point, get some revenge.
He does.
But Austin gives Hunter a stunner, and then the corporate ministry runs out to interfere because it is no disqualification. And then a bunch of baby faces come out. It's not quite the Union, but it's X-Pac, Kane, and the Brood coming out to help even the odds. And they have all been attacked by the corporate ministry during the show, so it makes sense.
So I appreciate that because, the corporate ministry are out there. Bradshaw's holding Austin, Viscera, Farouk, and Midian are out there. And then all these guys that come out, like you said, it's not really the Union. I guess maybe Big Show didn't travel. Maybe Kenny and Test didn't travel over there because not everybody's over there. But Mankind is over there. He limps to the ring, and he's battling with Undertaker up the aisle. So I do appreciate the continuity, like I said at the beginning of this, as we talked about this pay-per-view, like they interfere, corporate ministry does in all these matches. Well, it comes back to play here at the end because all those guys they screwed over come back out to screw them over. So I really do like that, the way that turned out. And that Mankind is battling with Taker up the aisle, so he kind of disappears.
And Taker, Taker, you can see him stumbling outside the ring. He's unable to stay on his feet. And I don't think he's selling. I think he's just legitimately having trouble standing, but he is able to make it out of there and like you said, fight with Mankind, specifically all the way to the back, which leaves Triple H and Austin by themselves for the finish.
Yeah, so that's going to bring it's just Austin and Triple H, like you said. China gets in the ring as Hunter's holding Austin like holding his arms behind, and she kind of mouths off and does a cartwheel and is going to do like a back handspring into him, but Austin kicks her in the stomach, and that gets a pop.
It reminded me of Austin Powers, where there's that one fight where like some guy's doing like, or not, not Austin. I think they parody it Austin Powers. I'm thinking of Indiana Jones, where like the guy does all the tricks and everything. It was with the whip, right?
Yeah.
And then Indiana Jones just shoots him.
So
China gets in the ring and does all these backflips, and Austin just kicks her in the gut.
He kicks her in the gut, and the crowd comes alive for that because, beating up women is cool, apparently, back in 1999. And he stuns her, and then he just turns around and immediately stuns Triple H and pins him at 18 minutes, 27 seconds. So at this point, too, Shane McMahon is outside the ring. And he slides in like after the 3 count. What the heck happened there?
Well, he was holding Earl Hebner while China was in the ring. And then you can watch this. He just lets Earl Hebner go, count the pin, and then he has to like walk around and stall because he could easily have jumped in there and broken the pin up. But he's like trying to act like he can't quite get in there fast enough to break up the pin. Shane kind of dropped the ball a little bit with the finish there. But whatever. It all works out fine. And Shane gets a stunner and some Bronco Busters here to hit the show.
Oh yeah,
because Austin's about to make X-Pac look like the second biggest star in the company here.
Yeah, he is, man. He really is. Again, I mentioned last week that X-Pac is over like nobody's business for some reason in 98, 99. And here in the UK, dude, you think that he's The Rock because The Rock wasn't on the show either. You think that he's the second biggest babyface in the company because he's handing out Bronco Busters on Shane, Hunter, and China, which is weird to see. They beer bash. We got X-Pac, Austin, and third member, Earl Hebner, again, just like we had with Vinnie Jones.
He's repaying him for helping him out with that chair shot earlier.
I guess.
Steve Weiser's there, and apparently UK is the place for Earl Hebner to get to drink with Stone Cold Steve Austin in the ring.
Guess,
it's
man.
Tradition now.
It's funny, man. And then Austin gives the stunner to the future brothers-in-law. It's pretty cool to see.
The rare double stunner.
Yeah, you don't see that often. So he gives him that, and then gives Hunter a beer. And it's just funny because at this point you can also hear Hebner saying, we're still live. Like they have like 2 minutes left. And again, I don't know if this was supposed to be after the air or what, but it's funny because it makes it on air.
Yeah, this part was fun. It felt like some of those extra attitude segments that are on the network, that Raw after the show stuff. But you get to see a lot of it be a part of the pay-per-view, and it's really random to see X-Pac in there with Stone Cold Steve Austin toasting. Cool moment for him. Maybe the highlight of X-Pac's career, to be honest, out here in the main event up here. But yeah, this one, I'd never seen this one before, and it's probably good with never seen it again. I don't think it's one anyone needs to rush out to go see. I think Undertaker and the guys, they tried. Undertaker's injury clearly prevented them from actually having much of a match, but they did what they could. They went out there, they put on a show. People paid the tickets. They went on there and they tried to put a match together. Just didn't end up working that great. Doesn't rise up to the fun levels of some of the other UK pay-per-views we covered.
Right.
So I think you could skip it. Probably some YouTube highlights that you could see and check out Paul Bearer, his karate moves there for 5 seconds. And you could watch X-Pac toasting with Stone Cold. That's fun. But instead, I'd go watch those 2 episodes of Raw. Man, those are well worth watching.
May 3rd, May 10th, 99. Go watch those, man. They're incredible. So wonderful, wonderful storytelling right there. But yeah, if you guys were there, Manchester Arena, we want to hear from you. If you were there, some of you guys have commented that you have been there, so.
We do have one person, one of our listeners, who was actually at this show. Isn't that right, Travis?
Yes, absolutely. As you guys know, I always say, if you were there, let us know. And our old friend from across the pond, I believe, Lou Jane, said that she was there at No Mercy UK edition. And she said she was there, and I just asked her more specifically on Facebook, do you have any specific memories? We'd like to share them on the podcast. Thanks for reaching out. And she said that she really enjoyed seeing the triple threat between Taker, Triple H, and Austin. And she said that those are 2 of her favorite opponents for Taker, and they're in the same match. So thought that's pretty cool. I guess at the time they weren't her favorite opponents, but what they'll come to be and mean to her, or mean to his legacy is pretty cool. So I guess I didn't really think about that, because Triple H has a huge huge rivalry with Taker coming up here, and as in 2018 it's still going on. So,
yes, even as we speak.
So thank you to Lou Jane for responding to that. Always throw it out there, and half the time we get nobody, but I appreciate, especially those of you who are over in the UK. We always really love hearing that you guys were there. Thank you guys for listening too, and thank you, Lou Jane, and we'll get to you next time we get to a UK pay-per-view.
Go to Talking Taker, at Talking Taker on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. You can hit up me at Alex Dorio as well on all those platforms. And then, of course, on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, and YouTube. We are on all of those. We put those episodes out every single Friday. Actually, usually put them up late Thursday night if you are a subscriber, so they will automatically download right there for you. So be sure to hit us up on all those platforms, and stay tuned for next week's episode, as we will be jumping ahead just a couple weeks to cover a very difficult show. I'm sure it will be to cover, and we'll talk about all the side effects of this one, but we're going to cover the main event of Over the Edge 1999 with Stone Cold Steve Austin defending his world title against The Undertaker here in a rarely seen match, I would say, as it is a match that was never released on home video and was not available legally to see besides the pay-per-view itself until the WWE Network arrived a few years ago. So very rarely seen. I have personally never seen it, obviously for obvious reasons, and that pay-per-view is much more ominous, much more important for something besides this world title match. But I'm sure we'll discuss that and our feelings on that, and try to discuss the match itself as it is, but I'm sure it will be difficult to remove it from all the feelings about the tragedy with Owen Hart involved in that night. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll be an interesting episode, and I'm intrigued, I will say, to see that match for the first time ever.
Yeah, me too. It'll be the first time, just like this one was, but it'll be more of a main event feel, and I'm looking forward to it. And we'll get to that. Hopefully, we won't be quite as long as these last few have been, but there's so much to pack and to unpack and to cover. So we appreciate you guys being patient with us as we're kind of unpacking all this stuff, and we'll try to make them a little more streamlined if we can. But thank you guys for your feedback, and last but not least, take her easy.
Hey, what you doing? Pooping?